Hello and welcome to the Big Reviewski with Chicago Town Pizza. My name is Owen, there's Rory, and as far back as we can remember, we've always wanted to be gangsters. Unfortunately, though, that never worked out, and you're stuck here with us giving you weekly recommendations of what to watch instead. But don't worry, because we have one redeeming feature. Our lovely friends over at Chicago Town Pizza have gifted us with some delicious, tasty goodies. And all you have to do is head over to the Big Reviewski Twitter account to be in with the chance of winning. That's right, you guessed it. It's free pizza. But now, Roy, free pizza aside, why are we so mafia mad this week?
Well, this week specifically is because it is the arrival of the Many Saints of Newark, which is the prequel movie to The Sopranos, which arguably, depending on who you ask, is either one of or the very best show ever made. A lot of people have been dying for a Sopranos movie for a very long time. We finally have it. It is a prequel movie, and we spoke to everyone, it feels like, who is involved in that movie. So you can go over to Joe's YouTube channel right now and check out the no less than 7 interviews that we did related to the Many Saints of Newark, or you can wait till the very end of this episode and watch a little bit of our chat with Ray Liotta.
None other than Ray Liotta. Like, obviously, he's been in loads of films throughout his career, but he's never going to get away from the fact that he starred in one of the most iconic gangster movies of all time, Goodfellas. So it's great to see him back in another film like that in The Many Saints of Newark. And speaking of Goodfellas, loads of people cite that film as their favorite gangster movie. Loads of people say it's their actual favorite movie as well. But myself and Rory have done a little bit of research. That's right, we did some work and we've picked out 5 of our favorite cool facts about the making of the movie. Fact 1, did you know that the F word is said a whopping 300 times throughout the movie? That's a lot of cursing.
What the are you looking at?
And it's mostly Joe Pesci's character, Tommy, who does all of the cursing. It was written into the script about 70 times, and then he just threw in a load more as well. Supposedly, his mammy was massively disappointed when she saw the film, saying that he had cursed way too much, which is entirely relatable as well. But another wee side fact to that one, Scorsese's film with the most curses is actually The Wolf of Wall Street, followed by Casino, and then Goodfellas. So that's one fact for you. Rory, what have you got?
Fact number 2, or as we should probably call it, Goodfellas fact number 2, is the fact that Joe Pesci, having won Best Supporting Actor Oscar for his role in this, then went on to give the shortest Oscar speech pretty much of all time. We've got a little clip of it right here.
Well, it's my privilege, thank you.
Super short, love the brevity, big fan. So I'll keep it short too. That's my fact number 2.
I never knew that Brenda Fricker was the one that actually presented him with his Oscar as well. So obviously we're claiming this is an Irish film now because it's all connected. Fact number 3, the famous tracking shot, Steadicam shot that has just been lauded throughout cinema history, and loads of other people have based shots on it. It's whenever Ray Liotta's character is going into the Copacabana club and the camera is following him around, and he goes through the kitchen and he's having conversations and he's slipping people money and he gets the table right up at the front. They actually had to shoot that entire thing, and it lasts a couple of minutes, so it's a long shot. They had to shoot it 8 times because something kept going wrong. And it wasn't anything to do with the choreography or Ray Liotta messing things up or anything like that. It was all because at the very end of the shot, there's a comedian comes on stage, a guy called Henry Youngman, and he has pretty much one line to do. And after everything has gone absolutely perfectly, he messed it up so many times. That one single line, again, also relatable, because even when you're given one simple job to do, you can't help but mess it up. But they finally nailed it, and it's gone down in cinema history.
Fact number 4, maybe the most famous scene from Goodfellas. No, it is. It's the most famous scene from Goodfellas. It's the "You think I'm funny" scene. Joe Pesci being abnormally terrifying, like absolutely off the screen terrifying. How do you think I'm funny? Why do you think I'm funny? Oh my God, I thought we were all just having a laugh, mate. Clearly we're not anymore, lol. Was all entirely Pesci's creation. He had seen it happen in real life with some real mobsters. He helped script and create that scene himself. only Scorsese, Pesci, and Leotta knew how that scene was going to play out. So everyone around them are, how will I put this creatively? Not actors, but playing their roles really well, if you can follow my gist there. And they all kind of had no idea how this scene was going to play out and reacted naturally, which was just pure terror, which, again, if Joe Pesci's being terrifying, that's how that's going to go.
Oh, Anthony. He's a big boy. He knows what he said. What'd you say?
You're right.
Funny how? What?
Just, you know, you're funny.
You mean,
So?
well, let me understand this, because maybe it's me, I'm a little up, maybe. But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you. I make you laugh. I'm here to amuse you.
I love the way whenever you were doing the quotes from the film that you threw in the word lol as well. As if, like, imagine that actually happened when Joe Pesci was doing it as well. Not quite as scary then. And fact number 5, this film could have looked a lot different in terms of the casting. So one person, Al Pacino, was actually offered the role of Jimmy, which ended up going to Robert De Niro because Al Pacino felt that he was being typecast after playing Michael Corleone in The Godfather. And as well as Ray Liotta playing Henry Hill, on the shortlist for that role was none other than Tom Cruise as well, which would have been completely bizarre, having Tom Cruise in the mix there with all these Italian-American mobsters as well. But my favorite thing is the fact that the reason Al Pacino turned Goodfellas down was to go and make Dick Tracy, where he ended up looking like this. And that film completely bombed. And he has said in interviews since that he has regretted the decision, which is the understatement of the 20th and 21st century as well. So those are your 5 facts about one of the most iconic gangster films of all time. Speaking of amazing gangster movies, there's one new big release this week that everybody's talking about. It is, of course, The Many Saints of Newark. We know it's the prequel to The Sopranos, Rory, but what else can you tell us about the movie?
Well, it's headed by Michael Gandolfini, who is the real-life son of James Gandolfini, and he's playing a younger version of Tony Soprano before he got made or finds himself properly interlinked with the more criminal aspect of his family. And he's been kind of brought up by his uncle Dickie, who's played by Alessandro Nivola, who people might know from Face Off and like lots of other amazing films that he's been in. And it shows the internal struggle within the family and also within specific family members of, should you do the right thing when it's harder, or do the criminal thing because it's your family's kind of already laid it all out for you and you're guaranteed money and respect and power. So it's kind of this little angel, little devil thing sitting on everyone's shoulder for the soul of Tony Soprano. But as anyone who's ever seen The Sopranos, well, we know how that goes.
As you said, you've done a number of interviews. It's the many interviews of Rory Cashin for the Many Saints, or for the Many Saints of Newark. But I know I'm biased, but I've had a look through all of them. And if people actually go and especially check out Michael Gandolfini's one, because he says some lovely kind of memories of growing up with his dad while he was filming The Sopranos as well. And it's just a real insight into like what it was like at that time, and then the pressure and the burden of having to play like a version of your dad on the big screen as well. But no, I can't wait to see this. And I know like pretty much every other Sopranos fan in the world is going to be queuing up to see this film as well. So cannot wait. The other release this week is something that has been, it's not quite as mainstream, obviously, as The Sopranos. Not many things are, but this is something that, especially within people, if you like proper cinematic, colorful experiences, this looked like it's going to be completely mind-blowing. It's The Green Knight from director David Lowery. And even looking at the trailer for this, looks like a work of art. There's a lot of hype around it. People, I think, have been blown away by it when they have had a chance to see it. You know, Rory, I know you've had a chance to see it. I have no idea what you think about it. So what did you think of it whenever you saw it?
Yeah, I think, do you remember there was a guy called Tarsem Singh? He directed films like The Cell with Jennifer Lopez, and he did the Immortals, I think, with Henry Cavill, and they were beautiful And like you grab any shot and you're like, that's a poster. I want that on my wall. It is beautiful. So imagine if he decided to make an episode of Game of Thrones. That's kind of the vibe here. Like Dev Patel is given one kind of mission to do to prove that he is worthy of a knighthood, and he sets off on this journey, and along the way he meets characters who are played by Barry Keoghan, Joel Edgerton, Alicia Vikander, all on the way to meeting the Green Knight who he has to fight to prove his worthiness as a knight himself. And I will say that there are parts of this that are the most beautiful, atmospheric, foreboding, like beautifully cinematic moments, and then there's other bits that connect those scenes that kind of they traipse on a little bit. It really is a matter of how do I put it? The director is like, I'm trying to set a mood, and sometimes the mood isn't it kind of boring to go on a long trip somewhere? With like, okay, so you could take a motorway to Donegal, and it's kind of a boring trip, or you could do like the scenic route, and you see lots of interesting things, and it takes longer to get there. And this movie is somehow both of those trips at the same time.
I love how optimistic you are as a Dublin person. Just for the record, Donegal is completely abandoned and forgotten about up here in the top corner of the country. There's no motorway, there's no trains, there's no nothing. But I like, as I said, your optimistic approach to that. So one of the things I'm also excited about, which I didn't realize until I was reading up on the film, is it's directed by a guy called David Lowery. The reason I'm excited about that is he remade Pete's Dragon for Disney a few years back. And the first one is about 1,000,000 hours long. It's all over the shop. It's pretty suspect in terms of its kind of characteristics of some people as well. But this remake that he had done sounds, or it's absolutely beautiful. It's brilliantly acted as well. Bryce Dallas Howard and Robert Redford, and the effects in it are gorgeous. So if he's transferred any of that into The Green Knight as well, that's all very exciting to see. So those two brand new films are in cinemas to see this week. And again, a number of brand new trailers have released or been dropped over the last week or so. But Roy, which one have you selected for our favorite trailer this week?
Yeah, so we watched this trailer, and I think we both were like, oh, we're absolute, because I know you have been dying to see this film for a very long time. I think it was late last year you said this was one of the films you were most excited about seeing this year. So yeah, it's Tom Hanks' new one, Finch, or is it Finch? Is it Finch?
It's Finch. It's Finch with
is
an
the
N, like
worst-
Finchy from The Office.
It's the worst name for this film. It was called Bios, and then it was called something else. I think it was named after maybe the book. It was I cannot get the name of this film to stay. I keep calling it Fitch, and I keep thinking it's the name of either the dog or the robot, but it's actually Tom Hanks' character's name is Finch. So yeah, he is one of the last survivors left on Earth after a solar flare causes global destruction, and he takes refuge underground. Discovers he's got a pet dog that is there for company, but he builds a robot from scratch to help around for a bit, but also to be around when Tom Hanks passes away. So that's cry number one, to help keep the dog alive. What is this film already? It's just this synopsis alone. I was like, oh God, Tom Hanks is going to die. There's a dog in it. So it looks phenomenal, and is directed by Miguel Sapochnik, who directed some of the best episodes of Game of Thrones. Well, what do you think? Because I know already previously, without even having seen a frame of it, you were already very excited for this.
Yeah, it was actually at the end of 2019 when I first heard about the premise for this film going into 2020. That's how long ago I got excited about this one originally. But I always like it whenever Tom Hanks is disappeared, left to fend for himself, and ends up making friends with other things. So I'm hoping Wilson the volleyball makes a cameo appearance in this film at some point as well. But as you said, whatever combo of whatever characters die in this, whether it's Tom Hanks, the dog, and or the robot, it's just going to be tears galore throughout. So they're not holding back from the cheesiness or the sentimentality in the trailer either. But again, I don't care. I'll definitely be there for that. So I'll watch anything that Tom Hanks is in. So that's Finch with an N, like Finchy from The Office, which also connects us to The Green Knight with Ralph Ineson. So everything is connected this week. Here's a wee look.
I learned to talk dog. I don't think it likes me. Come and see this.
Tie the RV down. Hang on to something. We should be safe once we get into the mountains.
But things will happen, like 150-degree heat, UV radiation, and people hiding in the shadows.
Go now!
Do you think we'll make it?
Not without my team. What we do together.
I believe in you, Finch.
And now it's time for even more connections. We've just gone from Tom Hanks being one of the last humans on planet Earth to a brand new TV series called Why the Last Man. Rory, what can you tell us about this?
It is about the last man, as in male human, left alive on Earth following an inexplicable pandemic that kills off everyone else with a Y chromosome. Just last week, if you're watching the Big Reviewski, we chatted to the show's titular star, played by Ben Schnetzer. And this week, I think it is the first 2 episodes that land on Disney Plus, and then the rest of the season will play out weekly every Wednesday after that. It is, for me, it was like someone took House of Cards and also The Leftovers and kind of smushed them together. It isn't quite as good as either of those because they're at their peak. We're both like 2 of the best modern shows ever, but it's very slick, it's very entertaining, it's got a great cast including Darren Lane, who I don't have to go into in detail anymore. Everyone knows about my love of her, and it just feels like the kind of show that if they hadn't given it the proper budget, it would have felt pokey and small and cheap, but they actually have gone all out on making it feel like a proper end of the world disaster thriller. Now this is all based off just the first 3 episodes that I've seen, so it could become even better again following on throughout the season, or it could take a little dip, I don't know, but from the episodes I've seen so far, it is definitely worth a watch.
Excellent stuff. Also keep an eye on JOE.ie. We'll be giving away some goodies for Why the Last Man as well. Now, the next show that's available to watch this week, you'd actually selected it as your favorite trailer a few weeks back. So we've had it on our radar for a while. It's Midnight Mass, but I have one question and one question only. How good or how present is Rahul Kohli in this? Because it seems like people are huge fans of him, as you pointed out last time.
Yeah, last time when we talked about Rahul, the thirsty fan base online, they found it and it was shared, and it became a conversation. It became a thirsty conversation about thirsty conversations. So that was fun, to that kind of thirst inception on our timeline. But he is in it quite a bit. It is the new, I don't want to say horror necessarily, because The Haunting of Hill House was Mike Flanagan's fantastic horror show that he had out about 3 years ago. And then I think it was about 2 years ago, he had The Haunting of Bly Manor, which was actually more of a supernatural drama that had some horror elements, but was more to do with romance than anything else. Whereas this one, there are some great horror elements to it. And over the course of the 7 episodes, when it gets to the 6th and 7th episode, it does kind of break out into a full horror. But everything leading up to that is a nice slow burn, an isolated drama to do with everything from religion to addiction, with amazing performances in it, and it looks beautiful. And I really, really recommend it. I think it will end up on many people's best of lists at the end of 2021. But just be aware that the trailer does have it feel like it's going to be this constantly terrifying show. but it is more of a slow burn drama that has little pockets of horror until it gets closer to the end.
That's high praise indeed, with the potential of it being added to loads of people's best shows of 2021. It sounds excellent. And last but not least, another one that we have flagged a number of weeks back. It's finally getting its release on Apple TV. This is Foundation.
Yeah, so weirdly, at the time of recording, there has still been no review or any review access for it. So this is a recommendation purely off, I think, our shared interest in this because A, Irish, huge production, want to support that. And B, we love the cast, Lee Pace, Jared Harris, everyone in it looks like they're at the top of the game. And C, it just looks beautiful and huge and interesting and just kind of different to anything else on television right now. And that's enough to give it, a go because Apple TV are really, they're swinging for the fences with the shows that they're putting out there. And I appreciate the big swings because one of the other ones you and I both love was the first season of The Morning Show, and the second season has just started on Apple TV as well. So yeah, I think it's probably time to either subscribe or resubscribe our Apple TV Plus subscription. Yes.
Well, that is what you do with the subscription. Don't forget to subscribe to the Big Reviewski, by the way. Yeah, in terms of the Morning Show Foundation, I also started Ted Lasso recently. I know loads of people are on that already, but it is as feel good and lovely and warm and fuzzy as people have said to be. So definitely worth checking out Apple TV for those as well. So that's everything that's coming up on the small screen this week. And now it's time for Pizza and a Movie. And each week, myself and Rory go head to head with one of our recommendations. And it's advising you if there's anything you want to check out this weekend, if you're in the mood for a film this weekend, that you can sit down with a lovely Chicago Town pizza to enjoy yourself and just get cozy on the sofa. So these Pizza and a Movie polls have pretty much only been going one way so far. I think you had one victory over the past couple of weeks, and I feel like I'm turning into a horrible person because, as I said before, I don't like to gloat. But last week, Rory, you chose The Revenant. I chose Drive, and I was so sure that I would come away with a victory for that one. And I guess we'll just have to find out what the people voted for. So if we can play, whoever's got the timpani around here, could you please play our drum roll? Thank you very much. Again, the votes have been tallied. The numbers have been added up. I've demanded numerous recounts this week, but the winner, with a marginal 52% to 48% victory, is The Revenant. Rory, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I think what everyone out there is thinking is that they're just really happy to see you fall on your face and lose. I think it's just a shared joy of watching pride cometh before the fall. And I want to thank exactly 52% of the population of our readership. The rest of y'all can go to hell.
That is the cursed vote result, isn't it? That's like the thing, like Brexit won by that amount, other bad things won by that amount. So if you win 52-48, you're just pretty much a bad person. So congratulations on your victory, Rory. I don't know what this feeling is. Is this what it feels to be like a loser? Anyway, what have you chosen for this week's Pizza and a Movie?
Yeah, so was released in 2004. It was released to very middling reviews, very middling box office. No one really seemed to have an opinion on it at the time. Jump forward all these years later, and it's consistently maybe one of the most rewatched movies for so many people out there. It is Man on Fire, and it's just been added to Netflix. It's Denzel on a rampage of revenge after Dakota Fanning's character, who he is the personal bodyguard for, is kidnapped. So he just rips through all of a criminal underground, and it's just so much fun. It's just great to see him just lose his mind in anger and revenge, and that's just been added to Netflix this week. So beat that, Doherty.
I don't think there's any point in me actually saying the name of my movie, because nothing's going to beat Denzel Washington in Man on Fire, because it's obviously the greatest film ever made. What I have gone for, whenever you started describing yours, I thought, wait, is he picking the same pick as me? This is from 2004 as well, when it was originally released. Again, released to like middling reviews. Probably not a huge amount of people saw it at the time, but it does have a gorgeous soundtrack and even more gorgeouser cast as well. But it's all because the star of the show, Bill Murray, it celebrates his birthday this week. He's 71. Happy birthday, Bill Murray. But this was one of his multiple team ups with Wes Anderson, and it is, of course, The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I absolutely love this film. It's probably my favorite Wes Anderson film. It's not for everybody, but it is available to watch on Disney Plus now. So if you love Bill Murray, please, please, please go and watch that film. Well, that pretty much wraps us up for this week's episode of The Big Reviewski. A big thank you to everybody who is watching and listening to the show. We were #1 in the Irish charts. Go us. So thank you for all your support. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. As I said, you can head over to the Big Reviewski Twitter account to be in with a chance of winning those tasty free goodies as well from our friends at Chicago Town Pizza. Rory, thank you as ever. Thank you to the Big Reviewski team behind the scenes as well. And Rory, can you whet our appetite? What have we got coming up on next week's episode?
I can't believe it's finally here. It's like it's like a unicorn. It's like something you're like, I've heard it exists, but I'm not sure it's ever going to arrive. It's finally here. It's No Time to Die. The 25th Bond movie is finally in cinemas from next week. So keep an eye. We might have more than just a review, but I don't want to tease too much, but yeah, that's next week.
Lovely stuff. And to wrap up today's show, we have none other than Ray Liotta, the star of the Many Saints of Newark. Roy, you chatted to him about a couple of different things, because interestingly, he was actually here, or we're trying to figure out he might actually be in Ireland currently at the moment.
Yeah, at the time of recording, he is still in production on Cocaine Bear, which we have mentioned several times on the show, which is being filmed in Wicklow, I think, mostly at the moment. But he's one of the massively impressive cast in that. So on top of talking about Many Saints of Newark, on top of talking about his iconic narration over Goodfellas, he also chatted about his time and love of Ireland.
I think we got in yesterday or 2 days ago and fly back in a week. I love it there. I really love the people. It's only been a few days, so don't disappoint me. But there was really just very smart, funny, nice, witty people, and beautiful. The place is just beautiful.